Pumpkin season, bitches. Hope you're ready.
Life before cell phones.
Bah, bah, bah. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I put that up too early. My name's Tim Fulton.
I'm Andy Smith.
And this is What Do You Got?
What do you got?
What do you got? I already gave you a little bit of a preview, but it's pumpkin everything season.
It is. It's white girl season.
It is.
It's white girls wearing blue jeans, big knee-high brown shoes, and plaid shirts.
You know what's funny? I love the fall. I would argue that it's my favorite season.
White girls fucked it all up.
I hate pumpkin. Hate it.
You hate pumpkin.
I do.
I hate pumpkin because people hype it up to be like the end-all be-all flavor that is just, and I get it, but you know when you're enjoying something and somebody is hyping it up so much, you're like, I want to hate it now.
Yep.
I want
know
it to be bad.
Exactly what you're talking about. And did you know that pumpkin actually doesn't really have a flavor? Pumpkin is often followed with cinnamon and nutmeg. So when
Yeah.
you're tasting pumpkin flavored things, you're really just tasting
cinnamon.
cinnamon and nutmeg.
It's cinnamon.
That's it. You can't eat a pumpkin. Tell me how it tastes. Then have a pumpkin latte.
Yeah, pumpkin is one of those weird things you can't. I don't know shit about pumpkin, so I'm just making stuff up. But,
Oh, I'm a pumpkin connoisseur.
but pumpkins, can you make a lot of foods out of pumpkin?
I have no idea. The only thing I've ever made out of a pumpkin are roasting the seeds after carving
Pumpkin
it.
seeds, yeah. But when you cut open a pumpkin, it literally looks and smells like somebody puked in it.
I know you have to be able to because people make pumpkin pie.
But do they just call it pumpkin pie?
No, I think there is actual pumpkin in there.
Okay.
I think you puree it.
Oh, okay.
So you probably like cut out the guts
Yeah.
and then like puree it and then it becomes pumpkin mush.
It's one of the grosser vegetables.
Yeah.
But it's probably the most popular one.
I remember it is. It's like a serious industry
Yeah.
and like 95% of it gets carved.
Yeah. So pumpkin everything during pumpkin season.
That bothers me because it's autumn. I love everything about autumn. I love wearing just a light jacket. I don't know why. Shut up. I like going fucking apple picking. I love just how it feels outside. How it's like still warm. You get that little cool tinge to it. It's not overbearing. I love everything. But pumpkin has invaded my space.
Yeah, it's a little
like-
pushy.
It's like a
It had too
marching-
many drinks at the bar.
Yeah, it's like if a Jewish guy's favorite month was December, and he just can't enjoy
Just can't
it.
get out of Christmas.
You just can't enjoy it. That's what it feels like.
I like the fall, but there's certain things I don't like about the fall when it's in the extreme. What I don't like about the fall is when it's like cold out, but it's sunny. So if you have a sweatshirt on, you're sweating, but if you take it off, you're cold. It feels like you have the flu. Right?
That's fair.
Okay.
That's a fair statement.
The other thing I don't like about it is when all the leaves are finally off the trees, everything just has this end of the world feel. And because everything is wet, it's damp, it's cold, but it's not so cold that like you don't care, but it's all soggy and dead.
It is all soggy and dead. See, I agree. I don't like that part of fall, but the lead up to it, it's funny. Because, all right, so just for clarification, we live in New Jersey, and I know most people consider New Jersey to be vomit in a bucket, which is normally true, but
Yeah.
we live in a weird part of New Jersey that is...
No, yeah, kind of. Most people think of Jersey Shore, they think of The Sopranos, and they think of...
like Jersey City and Hoboken and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not. Most of the state is not that.
Yeah, it's not.
Most of the state is like suburb or woods, shit like that. It's weird state.
So my drive to work is like 25 minutes long, and the first 20 minutes of it, it's all back roads. And like every year, it's like a surprise all over again. I see the trees, and I get all like, "Oh my god, it's so pretty! Oh, it's so cool!"
Yeah.
And I get that for like a month and a half, 2 months maybe, and then you're right. November comes, and everything is just dead inside.
Yeah,
and
it's a
outside.
little rough. It's weird because
I love it so much.
there is something to be said though about people that grow up in places that have all four seasons.
Yeah.
as opposed to only 1 or 2. And it does make people more snippy, I think.
What, growing up in 1 season?
No.
In 4 seasons?
Going through the whole thing of like your entire life changed. Let's be honest. So if you grew up in California or Florida and it's like the coldest day of the year is 50,
Yeah.
like those are places where people are known as like being happy all the time and like cool and chill and relax. When you're waking up and you have to fucking plug your engine in so that it starts, and we're only in Jersey. Like it gets cold here, but like we're by far not the coldest. But there is something to be said about you have to have like 3 wardrobes of clothes.
You do.
And there's something to be said about like the hassle and the bullshit about having to go through all the shit every year about like, all right, like the fun season's over. It's time to bunker down for the fucking winter. And then like, you know what I mean? Like everything is cold and it makes you a harder human.
See, I'm going to flip that on its head. I'm going to say, yeah, people do get a little bit snippier, especially in the wintertime.
Yes.
But
It makes you tougher though.
see, I'm not even going there. It makes you appreciative of the better seasons more.
It does.
There have been multiple times, not every spring, but there have been multiple times that spring will happen, and you just like feel that like release, that like,
Yeah.
I forgot I enjoy life.
Well, it's like you enjoy the sunny days because you had so many rainy and snowy ones.
Exactly, and you're just like, I really want to go for a hike or like some bullshit.
But that's
like,
why people in this state are out of their minds, is because they have to get all of it out in like 3 months. That we overindulge, like we're like crazy people in this area, because it's like the time is short. You know,
short-lived. That's why the Jersey Shore is jumping.
so pumpkin everything. What is your favorite pumpkin? Let's get back on track. What's your favorite pumpkin product?
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
So you like the peanuts?
I do like peanuts. I do enjoy pumpkin beer, but that's it.
Ugh.
That's it. I don't know what it is. I love pumpkin beer. I don't like pumpkin pie. I don't like pumpkin lattes. My buddy's trying to get me into pumpkin ice cream. I might try it just to satisfy his like urge of making me do it.
I will say pumpkin coffee, I think, is not that bad.
I don't like it.
See, the problem with most places is they make it for people that have addictions, right? So when you go to a place, it's like it's made for like a sugar addict who drinks like sugar sticks every morning. And when you drink it, you're like, that is so much pumpkin and sugar. I'm good for the whole fall.
That's fair.
They need to like back it down.
That's a good point.
Like back it down for people that just want to try a little pumpkin. Just a little pumpkin.
Just a little bump.
Yeah, just a little bump of pump. Candy. So
We're out of our minds.
yeah,
So that's it. It's pumpkin everything. Hope y'all are ready.
I still maintain that white chicks have made it annoying.
It is their fault because they were like, "Oh my god, a pumpkin latte, that's so good. It's my life now."
How many? Let me just
Because
ask you
everything is
this.
pumpkin. When did this start?
Let me ask you: when Instagram and Facebook came out, you know why? How many fucking white chicks do you know? I'm fucking going in hard on the white girls now. How many white chicks do you know that during pumpkin season get up? It's like their room is painted with pumpkins, and they got shoes made out of pumpkins, and like you've never heard them speak about pumpkins ever, but it's what is in. So I gotta talk about pumpkin. Like I gotta post about pumpkin because I'm a pumpkin fanatic.
I'm pumping.
It's
that
a
pumpkin.
fucking annoying.
It's a fad. We
It's
just talked
making
about
us
that.
hate pumpkins.
It is making us hate pumpkins.
Pumpkins are the.
Which, ironically, I love carving pumpkins. Suck at it.
Yeah, I'm not good at it, but I do enjoy a good
Yeah.
pumpkin carving.
It's fun.
It
I
is.
know. Just taking a knife to something and going to
You know what it
town.
is? It's nostalgic. It's old school.
Yeah.
You do it at a special time once a year.
Yeah.
You can't. Who the fuck carves pumpkins in July?
I don't know.
Psychopaths.
My
Psychopaths.
in college, I used to live with my cousin. He was pissed off at me. It was Halloween. It was like the day after Halloween, and we were idiot college kids. So I threw the pumpkin out our window, like a full pumpkin, and it shattered, and it was funny. Blah 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 blah. And he came home and he was like, "Oh, I was gonna carve that, dude. It's November. Get on track.
Yeah, if you
Start talking about turkey.
yeah, if you're starting to think that pumpkin carving is weird in November, then if you're in July, you should be in jail.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is weird. this fall is the weird time where all the holidays are just like mashed down your throat. Like growing up, like the decorations, like sticky things on the mirrors. You got that fucking, what's that horn thing with the fruit coming, the cornucopia. You had that out, and then all of a sudden, it's like the second that Thanksgiving's over, it's like right in the fucking box, back upstairs. It's Santa's time now.
There's a Family Guy skit. It's not even a skit. It's like a quick background gag where Stewie's walking by and he goes, Meg, Thanksgiving's over. Help me put up the Christmas decorations. Meg, help me put up the Christmas decorations!
Yeah. And here's the thing. Thanksgiving gets skipped over every fucking year now.
What?
They start playing Christmas music before Thanksgiving, which sucks. But it goes from, it's like Halloween, October, everyone's about Halloween. And then Halloween ends and they're like, we blew all our energy on Halloween. Who the fuck, like, I don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving. And then all of a sudden, December gets closer. It's the forgotten holiday.
It bothers me because, for multiple reasons. A, I want the forgotten holiday. Leave Thanksgiving alone. It's its own thing.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Leave Britney alone. Throwback. But same thing with pumpkin. How it's making me hate pumpkin, that everything is about pumpkin. I enjoy Christmas. Christmas is my fucking jam.
Yeah.
I love Christmas music.
I know you do.
You're playing Christmas music on November 15th.
But it's the same thing with the pumpkin. They jam it down your throat to the point where you're like, you're making me hate Christmas, and I love Christmas. Stop. I don't want to be sick of Christmas at the 10th of December. Stop it. Anyway, back to Pumpkin Land.
All right, we're swapping up to your topic.
All right, let's get on.
We got really mad about pumpkins. Andy, what do you got?
All right, BC, before cell phones.
I like what you did there.
Okay, so I was thinking about another topic, and it made me think about what other things could I apply to, right?
Okay.
So let's talk about all the good things that took place and that were around before cell phones and the internet that we don't have today.
Okay, so this is a little weird for us because we were in the transitioning phase between cell phones and not cell phones.
Yeah.
So like in high school and college, for me at least, you had people who would be like, "Oh, I have a cell phone now," but like not everyone did, and it slowly grew in percentages. And then by college, most people did.
Yes.
And then that changed to people having smartphones.
It wasn't expected of you to have a cell phone when we were in high school.
Yeah.
You literally had to ask, "Do you have a cell phone?"
Remember when text messages cost money?
Do you remember when a phone would only hold 25 text messages?
No.
Old flip phones used to hold 25 or 50 text messages. That's it. You had to delete them.
Yo, your cousin would go through that in about an hour.
Dude.
An hour, like 20 minutes.
It was like, if you had something funny you wanted to save, you had to like get real diplomatic and like, who's going to get deleted?
That's deep.
Yeah. So just think about like if you didn't have a cell phone now. Like you're not quite as crazy with the cell phones as most people because you forget yours places. Most people have a full-blown fucking panic attack if they leave the room without it.
That was a byproduct of me being extremely irresponsible when I was younger. Because
That's a good
not just
assessment
because
of
I
yourself.
was
That's why we're here today.
this year and a half has been one giant lead up
It's
to
an intervention.
So when I was younger, I was constantly breaking phones one way or the other. Walking into the ocean, walking into hot tubs. I shattered.
Sounds like you had a problem with remembering you had a phone in your pocket with water around.
That's true. At least 4 phones due to oceans and hot tubs. I once smashed one against a bridge. I once left one at a tennis court and just decided I don't want it anymore.
You've broken more phones than I've owned.
It was a serious problem. So I got very used to not having cell phones. Because
I see what you're saying.
I would break them so often, I would have to get creative and whatnot. And I remember it was actually kind of nice because like in college was when everyone did have a cell phone, and that was the transition. And I remember there was this one time a bunch of people came to my door. I didn't have a cell phone, and I broke my computer too.
Ooh.
And my car was broken
no
at the
aim.
same time. No aim. I had nothing. And a couple people knocked on my door, and they were like, "We don't know how to get a hold of you. We're having a party tonight. Do you want to come?" And I know that sounds stupid, but it kind of meant something because they went out of their way. We weren't even in the same building.
It
They
would
had to-
mean way more today than it did
yeah.
back then.
Oh,
Because it still wasn't like, it was still new.
yeah,
It wasn't unusual for somebody to be like, let's see if so-and-so's home.
yeah.
So like back in the day, and this is a weird thing, right? So I think back in the day, people were more reliable
100%.
on a general sense of like, if you said you were going to do something or be somewhere, you had to do that. Otherwise, you couldn't just say, hey, I'm going to be late. You had to be like, I need to be here by 7. If I'm not there by 7, I'm in the fucking ether. No one knows where I am. I might as well be dead or on Mars because I don't exist.
Yeah,
You can't call my house because I'm not there. You can't call my cell phone.
because that doesn't exist.
It
yet.
doesn't exist. You could page me, but then I got to find a fucking payphone.
And that's if I have a pager. That was
Yes.
for like the important blokes out in the
Those
world.
were expensive.
Yeah.
So all the benefits, like all the things that like annoy me sometimes about cell phones was I get reminded of like what it was like to not have them. So how many times have you been in the middle of a conversation and like a phone call or a text message like interrupts the flow of the conversation and then you just can't get it back on track
All the time.
all the time?
All the time.
And then how many times has somebody not been able, like most of the party, been able to just like sit around and bullshit without being like, we're gonna do this. Like, you used to have an imagination
Yeah.
to come up with conversation without being like, see that dog who's riding the tractor?
Yo, and like,
Pretty funny.
as much as we're getting up on the high horse to complain about it, we're guilty of it too.
I do the same shit. I'm a child.
Even Saturday, we were watching UFC together, and you looked at me when we were both staring at our fucking phones. And at
Yeah.
one point, you looked at me, you're like, "Yo, what are you playing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Blah blah blah. What are you playing?" You're like, "New game, bro."
Yeah, exactly.
And we went back to not talking.
yeah. Yeah, I don't
We're
like
better,
that.
We're better than most, but we still do it too. It's a thing.
We need to make like a rule, or like we need to come up with like some kind of a thing in our own little circle.
I liked your idea. You had this one a while ago. There was another podcast about it.
Putting the phones in the middle,
Phone in the shoe.
phone in the shoe at game night.
Phone in the shoe at game night. When you go to the bathroom, you can check it.
Yeah,
Because-
people are gonna have to shit and piss all night, I guess.
That's not a problem for me. I have to. Pee
No,
in
you
30
literally
fucking
have
seconds.
to. But yeah, so back then, like you used to have to fucking call someone from a house phone. If someone said I'll call you at 4:00, you had to wait in your house.
Yeah.
You couldn't go outside in the backyard because you wouldn't hear the phone. And that's before like the mobile phone. I don't have to fucking have this wire attached to my head. Like,
Technology progressed so fucking
yeah.
quickly.
And then also too, like the internet. I remember like one of the saddest days, and where I just didn't. I knew I wasn't gonna like it. I was playing PlayStation 2, right? And PlayStation 2 came out with this attachment on it where it was the shittiest version of this, but it was new at the time. You would put the attachment on the back, and you could play the same game with somebody from another house. It's on the internet.
I remember that.
It used dial-up and all that stuff. But I remember in my head, I was like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to not be sitting with your friend and play with them on... They're like, yeah, but you get the whole screen. It's like, yeah, but then you're just going to sit in your own house and play. That's not the same thing.
It's not.
And then that was the last console I ever bought. So I'm like, this is where it's going. Like, because everyone I knew that played games, like, had that. And I was the one, last of the Mohicans, who was just like, no, that goes against the old ways. The old ways is you fucking kill your knees and your back sitting on the floor in front of the screen. And you talk and bullshit and laugh. And that's what playing video games is. Now, kind of a hypocrite because I went that way with computer games.
Yeah.
But I kind of play by myself with the computer games, too. But there is something to be said for back in the day before cell phones, people were more in tune with who they were hanging out with. They had to be more reliable when they said they're going to be somewhere or do something. I'm guilty of that. I'm always late to like social events.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's kind of ruined us for a lot of things. Granted, 1,000 positives, but
Yeah, there are positives to it too, but I remember when we were like we were also a little bit more spontaneous when we were kids
yeah.
without cell phones because like there were times you couldn't do things, but there were times you couldn't get a hold of someone, so you just went. I remember just
Let's go see if so and so's home.
yeah. Granted, we were young, so it was on our block. So I don't know what the older people. I don't know what the adults were doing. Like if you would just go to so and so's house, see if they're home. But like, yeah, that's what we did. I remember going to people's houses and just knocking, me like, so and so home.
Yeah.
No, all right, I'll go find someone else to go play with.
And what's also
I miss
crazy
that shit.
is like there's this thing that you can't ignore it, but it's part of it now. So like, you remember when you used to play sports?
Yeah.
When you were younger, your parents dropped you off somewhere, they got back, and like if you weren't there, they just waited for you. Or like you'd have to call the house and be like, leave a message saying like, hey, I'm at so and so's house. I think now part of the reason why there's so many like helicopter parents is that the constant contact between them, it's like if they don't answer, that's like instinctually you're like something's wrong.
Something's wrong. They're dead.
Because they never not answer. But back in the day, our parents were like, yeah, like you're not home, so you're somewhere. I have no idea where you are. You could be anywhere. And I don't know if you're lost until I go where I left you.
I remember one time my parents got super pissed off at me. No cell phones, so I couldn't call home. We were out. We went to a pool hall. I was young. I think I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
But we were with an older crowd. So I think they were seniors in high school, maybe freshmen in college. But we all worked together at this like summer place. So like it was like a known crowd. And we went from one pool hall to another for some reason. And like they were smoking cigars and like everyone was being badass. And I remember thinking like we stayed out till like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't tell anyone that I was going to be out till 1 o'clock in the morning. And I had two sides of it. One part of me was like, my parents are going to murder me because I'm going to come home at 1 o'clock and they have no idea where I even am.
Yeah.
And there's another part of me that is like, I didn't drive because I was a freshman. So I didn't want to be the guy who's like, hey guys, I got to go home.
I got to go home. Someone drive me.
Yeah. So I did it. And then I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning, opened up the door, and the first thing I heard was, where the fuck were you? And I was, oh, I'm going to bed.
It was out. You know,
it wasn't my fault. Mom and Dad, Blake wouldn't drive me home.
Yeah, still to this day. You know what? Another thing that was so awesome about back in the day was going to a concert and not seeing everyone watch a concert that they could have watched from their own fucking house. How many people go to a concert? I mean, not right now, but how many people go to a concert and watch it through the 4-inch fucking cell phone screen?
So, same thing with fireworks.
Why?
Why?
Why are you there?
Why?
Why are you there? Watch the fucking concert. Take a picture once in a while, if you know, whatever.
That's different.
But just constantly, it's just like, oh, this is what I'm gonna watch later. I didn't see the person in real life. I'm looking at the same thing.
Same thing.
What was it like? I don't know because I didn't see it. I was looking at my fucking phone.
You know what bothers me? When people bring like iPads and shit to those things.
Bro, they should have security guards with giant mitts just going around just smacking them down. Yeah. It is kind of annoying.
It is. You know what else used to be better? Theaters. Both movie and like play theaters. Because you didn't have that type of interruption. And like granted, like people are getting better about it. People are more socially aware. It still happens though. I remember 3 years ago, I was at a play. It was like this little play in upstate New York, in Saratoga. It was weird. It was about a woman on her deathbed and like her family would come around to say goodbye to her. And every now and then there would be like, I think it was death, but they were wearing like a raven mask. It was a weird fucking play. But a guy's cell phone went off in the middle of it. And I'm talking like the crowd was like 50 people. So like it immediately, like everyone is immediately out of the moment.
See, I'm more forgiving of an accidental cell phone discharge, like a round, than I am somebody willingly looking at their phone and texting someone about some shit that they don't need to text about.
I agree with that too.
And it makes me even more so when it's an adult. Because
you should know better.
You know, like just tell somebody, I'm in a play for my little brother or my nephew or my son. I can't talk right now. Before you go in, put it in your pocket. If it's that important, get up, go outside. And the worst is when you tell somebody something. Granted, every once in a while it's probably an emergency. But when you tell someone something and they look at you like, I could be a fuck you. And you're like, no, it's actually fuck you. You're what? No, you're in the fucking theater, dude. There's a dude. We're in a movie theater one time, and I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I think I was sitting next to Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
And there was a dude sitting next to me, like 1 or 2 seats down, and he just was on his cell phone during the movie. I think it was one of the Star Wars movies or something like that.
Okay.
Just on his cell phone. And I'm like, let it go. Maybe it's the beginning of the movie. Dude, like 20 minutes later, he's just still on the cell phone. And I had to silently but loudly enough tell Jamie that I was going to say something, but loud enough so that he heard me. But then I felt really bad because I looked over and it was clearly somebody's grandpa.
Oh.
Not a young grandpa. And I was like,
Oh.
I don't feel good about that at all. I feel really shitty.
That's. I have one kind of similar. I don't fly a lot. I've flown 4 times in my life.
2 more than
4.
me.
Really?
Yeah.
The first time, so I don't know rules and etiquette and all that other bullshit. First time I went flying, a guy ends up sitting next to me, and they're doing the thing where they're like, all right, everyone, electronics off.
I have a similar story, but continue.
They're like, electronics off, we're about to take off. And I take, when someone in any authority tells me to do something, I'll do it. Not without question, but I'll do it. You know what? We're on a giant airplane that's about to skyrocket through the sky.
Basically, you're terrified and you don't know what's going on. So you're like, yes, I'll do whatever you say.
Agree. Yeah, fair. And the guy next to me is on a cell phone, and he's not getting off. And I'm sitting there like teetering between like, this is probably actually okay, and just do it anyway. Just how much harm is it going to be? And I was this close to saying something, and then the guy started crying.
Oh.
And he spent the entire trip, not the entire trip, but he spent the first like 20 to 30 minutes hysterically sobbing. I don't know if someone...
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if someone broke up with him or if someone passed away. But then I was like, no, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, that's a little... Yeah.
It almost became me saying, like, dude, stop it, to being like, dude, it's going to be okay.
Isn't it always like that? Don't you feel like every time, like, you're like, oh, I'm going to get... And then you're like, I can't even feel good about getting mad at something I had the right to be mad at, because now I got to feel bad, because this probably had some serious shit just happen, and I don't feel like a douchebag.
Now I'm going to feel like douchebag.
I had the same thing happen, except mine didn't have that sad ending. It was my second time on a plane. And again, the same thing. I don't know etiquette. I don't know the plane etiquette.
We don't know.
I don't know if it's like, hey, guys, like no standing, or like some silly rules that people like do. Like, hey, 1 drink minimum. Elbow, wink, wink. And people just do it. So I'm on the plane. We're coming back from Florida, and I was with my ex-girlfriend. This is going back, I was like 20 years old, 21.
Okay.
And sitting there, and I'm like really like, this is the second time I've been on a plane, and I'm not okay with it, because the first time I was on a plane was a week before. So I'm sitting there, and I'm looking, and they put all the cell phones away, and we're about to take off. And I look, and the guy takes his cell phone, and he puts it in the back seat, and then the stewardess walks by, and he looks, and he takes it back out.
Like a child.
And he goes on it.
Like a fucking child.
Now, and this guy is like in his late 30s, right? Granted, in my head, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but I know that you're not supposed to be doing it because I heard the announcement. And I've confirmed it with people sitting around me that there's no cell phones at this time. So you're breaking the rules, and I'm on the same plane. You're on the plane that I'm on. So I don't like this immediately. So I'm thinking, because of all the, this is like post 9/11.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like really like aware, because I'm paranoid on a plane, because I don't like planes. But the guy had like the whitest white uniform on of like what, like he was transparently Irish. He had the
those Irish terrorists, they're out to get us.
The IRA. But he had all Boston Red Sox stuff on. Like Boston Red Sox cap, I'm like, if that guy is a terrorist, he's got to get an A+ for like costume design, right? Like, who the fuck is going to, but in my head, I'm like, if a smart terrorist was on the plane, that's what they would wear. because no one would ever respect the Boston Red Sox fan. So, right, I'm just like, just getting paranoid in my head because I don't like this, and I know I want to say something, but I don't know the plane etiquette. So I'm freaking out. I'm getting like the show, like, stop. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not going down and being the guy that should have said something when this dude stands up and he's like, haha, like, not doing that. So I'm like, if he didn't put his phone away by the time we're going to take off, I'm going to say something. So it gets to that point. So I get up and I walk back to the bathroom where the stewardess is. And I'm like hunching in the plane. And I'm like, listen, ma'am, I'm like, I don't go on planes very often. I don't know what the etiquette is for planes. I don't know how strict you are with the rules. I don't know what rules you are that you're lax with. This is exactly how I'm talking to her. I said, the gentleman to the left of me in the red shirt, you asked him to put the cell phones away. He put it away. Then he took it back out. I said, I don't know what the etiquette is. I'm just letting you know that I'm uncomfortable. If his phone doesn't go away before we take off, I will make him put it away. I'm like, I would rather you do it, but I'm just letting you know I'm uncomfortable, and I will make him put the phone away. And she's like, okay, sir. Like, she could see that, like, I wasn't trying to be difficult. I was just scared out of my mind. So she comes back and she's like, sir, she told me you need to put the phone away. And he's like, well, and I'm just like, here we go. Like, totally fucked up. Like, none of it had any like basis. He was probably checking the stats of the Yankees versus the Red Sox.
Probably. But
yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
One last kind of irrelevant story, and then we're going to be closing up shop here. I recently learned a thing, and I saw it from a video online, that there was this woman who was giving a flight attendant a very hard time over a mask. They were telling her, please wear a mask, blah, 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 blah. And she basically said, no, I want your name. I want blah, blah, blah. She went through this whole rigmarole. And
White lady.
Hmm?
White lady.
Of course. And that's when I found out flight attendants have a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the rule is, if they don't trust you and they think you're going to be a problem in case of emergency, you're out. So she said, I want your name. And the flight attendant gave her name, and she said, all right, great. I'm going to make sure you don't have a job when we get off this plane. And the flight attendant turned around and said, this is an issue. I don't feel safe. I want her off the plane right now. And the woman's like, I can't get off the plane. I have to be somewhere. And she's
no,
like,
Karen.
Yeah, that's what she said.
You do have to be somewhere. The lobby.
Yeah, she's like, no, you're gone. And she was like, I'll be quiet for the rest of the... No, done, out. Don't fuck with flight attendants. They have enough problems in their lives. Don't fuck with flight attendants.
Remember what I
please.
said before we started shooting the podcast? You're going to find out real quick how much you didn't care about wearing a mask. Karen found out how much she really didn't give a shit about putting that fucking mask on.
Yo, it was... Oh, it wasn't a mask. I'm sorry. She was complaining because a baby was crying. And she was giving, like, a hard enough time where she was, like... where everyone got
What
involved.
do you want them to do? Smother the kid?
And granted, I saw this on the internet, to take everything with a grain of salt, but it was a flight from, like, Boston to New York. Like, it was like an hour flight. So, all right, that sums us up.
Miserable.
Miserable. Stop being miserable, people. Anything else?
That's it. You talk us out.
Oh, I see what you did
see
there.
what I did there?
Yeah.
Did the old Uno slip.
All right, guys, let us know what you think about these topics in comments down below. Add to the conversation. Let us know what you actually think. Don't forget, you can also comment at brodownpro.com. We have like a little comment section for each of the videos there. Do you know what else we have? Dope ass shit.
We do.
We do. Check out all of our stuff. We have new stuff coming around all the time, and we constantly are rotating what's on sale. So keep coming back. We love you. Stay tuned for more. Like and subscribe. Be good. Peace out, bro.
That was beautiful.
I love it too.
Beautiful.
Bye.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking